change in home floors will bring a change in the result. Stay tuned for the I-74 rematch next on News Channel 31 Sports.
Welcome to Illinois State Redbird basketball, live on WMBD TV.
We are inside what is sure to be a loud and raucous Redbird Arena for the renewal of the I-74 rivalry as the ISU Redbirds get set to host the Bradley Braves. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the best rivalry game in the Missouri Valley Conference. Bradley and Illinois State. Kurt Pegler along with former ISU guard Todd Cagle. Todd, let's jump right into the matchups. Marcellus Somerville has started slowly for the Braves, but really heating up the last 3 weeks.
Well, Somerville is definitely a first-team All-Valley contributor. He's an inside and outside force. And Bradley will have to go to him, and he'll have to produce in order for them to be successful today.
Meanwhile, the Redbirds have certainly had their ups and downs this year, but probably the most consistent player on their roster has been Greg Dilligard.
Greg Dilligard is the premier scorer for Illinois State this year, but on the defensive end is where he really contributes. It'll be an interesting matchup today to see when Somerville and Dilligard match up underneath.
The Braves won the first matchup between these two teams by 29 points last week, but stay tuned. The rematch is up next here on News Channel 31, Bradley and ISU. Bennett, the only player to start every Bradley game the past 2 years now, 50 consecutive starts for the former junior college star from Pratt Community College and Westinghouse High School in Chicago. Jim Less, the 1986 Bradley graduate, in his fourth season coaching at his alma mater, 53 wins and 58 losses, one of only two Bradley coaches to lead the Braves to improved records in each of his first 2 seasons, and now he's trying to take Bradley to that next level into the postseason. Illinois State has a couple of changes in its starting five. Khalif Ford, Neil Plank, Levi Dyer, who played a career-high 22 minutes in the Tuesday night loss at Drake in the starting five today. Dana Ford, the senior from Tams, Illinois, and then Greg Dilligard, the junior forward from LaBelle, Missouri, in the starting five for the ISU Redbirds, coached by former Creighton star Porter Moser, who's in his third year at Illinois State, 35 wins and 46 losses at ISU. If you count his 6-year total as a head coach, he was at the University of Arkansas Little Rock. He has an 89 and 80 overall coaching record. Bradley leads the all-time series, 56-45. We mentioned this is the 102nd meeting between these two longtime rivals. They last met just a week and a half ago, last Wednesday at Carver Arena in Peoria, with the Braves winning 73-44, the most lopsided victory in this long series since Bradley won by 50 points in a 1957 game. Todd, you had a chance to play in these Illinois State Bradley games in your playing career. This is really a special game, isn't it?
Well, the guys will definitely be jacked up and ready to go today. I know ISU is looking forward to kind of getting back on the floor with Bradley, and obviously Bradley, they need to play better on the road. They're looking forward to all the challenges they can get down the stretch to maybe make a bid for some postseason. So
let's talk a little bit about the keys to today's game. Bradley comes in. We've mentioned their road woes. They've lost 16 of their last 17 in the Missouri Valley Conference, and since the victory over the Redbirds last week have dropped 2 consecutive road games. What do you think the keys to this afternoon's games are?
Well, maybe the phrase, if it plays in Peoria, it plays anywhere, doesn't really apply to the Braves. But they need a man-sized effort from somebody on their team to be able to get over the hump today. I think the coaching staff feels like it's Somerville that can kind of get them over the hump. As far as Illinois State goes, they hang their head on defense. Illinois State has allowed only 73 points 3 times all year. Bradley averages 73 points per game, so something's got to give. I think the game will be decided on that end of the floor, Bradley's offense versus Illinois State's defense.
Yeah, ISU is holding opponents to under 59 points per game on the average, 59.5 points per game, which is the lowest in school history. So, as you mentioned, Todd, the Redbirds have really hung their hat on their defense, and really for them to win it all the rest of the year, that's where they're going to win their games, is on the defensive end of the floor.
Well, talking with Coach Moser before the game, he talked about their struggles on the offensive end. He looks for their defense to help create offense for them, kind of get them some easy baskets, some easy points. And I think in the first 5 minutes of the game, we'll see, is this a fast-paced game, which is going to lead to, Bradley being favored in this game, or maybe is this a game that's a little bit more slow-paced and kind of the style that ISU really wants to play today to be effective.
And certainly this is going to be a game of matchups. Porter Moser has said that Bradley's a very difficult team for his roster to match up against, especially when you put a guy like Patrick O'Brien on the floor alongside a guy like Marcellus Somerville, because they're so versatile. So we're seeing Levi Dyer and Greg Dilligard. We're seeing two big men. They're going to have a high post, low post situation for Illinois State to try to counteract that.
Well, it'll be interesting because Coach Moser did say that Dilligard will start on Somerville, which leaves O'Brien kind of open to whoever else wants to take him. He's a handful, whoever's going to take him. ISU will try to double down on him in the post, and that, like you said, that's the key to the game. How many ways can they find to stop Somerville and O'Brien? Because if they can't, they're going to have to really go to a different type of defense or something that's going to be unique and maybe not accustomed to Illinois State. So they really have to be able to handle those two big guys to be successful today.
Well, you talk about two teams who've had similar struggles on the road and teams that have had more success at home. The Redbirds certainly playing a lot better at home than they have on the road this year, where they're still looking for their first road win of the season. And so they're feeling a little bit more comfortable at home. Again, we mentioned that this series goes back to the 1904-05 season, and more often than not, the home team tends to come out victorious. And again, it was a 29-point Bradley victory in their first matchup of the season last week at Carver Arena. We want to mention that Bradley's in its road jerseys. And we've mentioned that coming up at halftime, we have an interview with Dr. Shane Zenger, the new ISU athletics director. He'll be with us at halftime. We'll also have some halftime statistics and highlights for you, as well as the News Channel 31 news break. Bradley comes out in its road red uniforms with white trim. Illinois State in the home whites with red trim, identical colors, red and white for both teams. Obviously, the Redbirds in their home whites and Bradley in their road red jerseys. Mike Sands here, John J. Moore, Terry Anderson, the officials working this afternoon's Missouri Valley Conference matchup between the Braves and the Redbirds, and we're glad you're alongside here on News Channel 31. It'll be Patrick O'Brien jumping against Greg Dilligard, and the Braves control the tap as it's back tap to Daniel Ruffin, and we're underway here at Redbird Arena.
Illinois State starts off in a man-to-man.
Bennett guarded by Dana Ford, and immediately the Braves go inside of their big fella O'Brien. He hits his first shot of the game.
Well, that's the key to the game right there. How can they match up with Bradley's big folks downstairs? Porter will watch that closely here as we get going.
The Braves in a man-to-man defense to start the ball game out. Dilligard with it, and now it's going to be, he lost the dribble. He's looking for help. He tried to go back door, and the pass is tipped and regained by Dilligard. And now Plank has it, and the Redbirds have 15 on the shot clock. Ford got a screen from Dyer. Dyer likes the ball out top. He's not afraid to shoot it from the perimeter. Dilligard had his shot partially blocked, and the Braves come away with it. Here's Bennett's first shot. His shot was blocked that time by Ford, but O'Brien comes away with it, and he may have walked. He did. First turnover against Bradley.
Bradley is small on the perimeter, but they're very quick. They have the capability of getting their shot off. That was fortunate for Illinois State there.
You see the replay on the turnover, and now Illinois State back in the front court. The Redbirds have Khalif Ford and Neil Plack on the floor at the same time. Both of those guys really have been sharing the point guard duties this year for the Redbirds.
Illinois State's going to go ahead and run a set here. They like to go ahead and work the ball down to Dilligard underneath.
And there he is off the slip screen. He missed a short shot. O'Brien comes away with a rebound. Now it's Ruffin back in the front court. He gets a screen from O'Brien, takes the ball to the basket, and a kick out now. Somerville thought about the shot and thought about also kicking it over to Twy. Now it's Twy. Down to O'Brien. Backs in on Dyer. Turnaround shot is good, and the foul.
Well, I'm really impressed with O'Brien right off the bat. He is getting excellent position underneath on Levi Dyer. The lower he gets towards the basket, it's just going to be difficult to stop him. I know Porter wants to push him out off the lane, but if he gets that low, there's just nothing that's going to help Illinois State down there.
So O'Brien to the foul line. He has all 4 of Bradley's points here in the first 2 minutes of this basketball game. The sophomore from Blaine, Minnesota, 7 foot 260. And it's Patrick O'Brien 5 and Illinois State nothing.
Bradley starts off with a little 3-quarter press.
Here's Levi Dyer for 3. We said he's very comfortable shooting from the perimeter.
He's got range of a 6-footer, not a 6'10" player. Watch underneath, and Levi should be pushing O'Brien off the post every chance he gets when the ball's away from him.
Now it's Somerville around Gilligard. He missed a shot, and it's O'Brien that follows for the jam. He has all 7 of the Braves' points.
O'Brien really attacks the glass hard.
Well, we talked about this game being a game of matchups right now, and Illinois State's having a very difficult time matching up with Patrick O'Brien. Now it's Khalif Ford from the outside. His shot is short. Ball's on the floor.
Probably not the shot Illinois State's looking for right there.
Now it's Somerville for 3, and the Braves are red hot out of the gates.
Wow, they've come out on fire.
A 3-point shot for Marcellus Somerville's first hoop. It's a 7-point Bradley advantage. Now the Braves have started very slowly on the road in their road losses outside of a 9-0 lead against Drake, but here today they've come out on fire. Dyer looks back door to Dana Ford. His short shot over O'Brien. Now O'Brien probably changed that shot. Now it's Bennett in the front court. His 18-footer. That is missed, and it's Dana Ford up to get the rebound and a foul on Somerville.
We see the foul on Somerville. It's really Bradley's bigs right now, controlling the game, really having their way with everything they do on the court. See Dana went after the ball there very aggressively. You know, in talking with some of the NBA scouts, O'Brien is really looked at as a possible NBA big man, possible first-rounder in the next year or two. I know a lot of people are looking. In fact, there's a couple people of our left shoulder here who are actually watching the game today from the NBA.
Yeah, they've had scouts at many of the Bradley contests getting a good look at Patrick O'Brien.
I'm sure they're happy with what they've seen so far.
Off to a great start. The Braves are 4 of 7 to open this game. Gilligard inside around O'Brien, missed the shot. Somerville goes back and clears.
Bradley wants to push up-tempo all day. You'll watch him try and get out and run. I think Ruffin will control that for him.
Somerville lobs now to O'Brien, working on Dyer. Now a double team. Ford tries to help out. Passes over to Ruffin, works the baseline, lost the ball on the floor. Twy tries to go get it, flipped it up, and it's out of bounds to Bradley.
In a rivalry game, we're going to see a lot of plays like that, a lot of bodies on the floor, a lot of people getting after one another.
And so the Braves have 12 on the shot clock. Ruffin will trigger into the basket.
Those types of plays, that's nothing new for the years of the I-74 war. Watch the lob underneath here.
Lob goes inside to O'Brien. His short shot is no good, but there's a foul. Again, it's going to be against Illinois State. He is such a load on the inside. The Redbirds are finding firsthand how difficult it is to guard Patrick O'Brien.
We're going to have a timeout coming up. I'm sure Porter and his staff are going to talk about this right off the bat. How do we defend O'Brien underneath? And once they pay too much attention to O'Brien, that's when Somerville's really going to do his damage as well.
And you'll remember that Patrick O'Brien missed the first 8 games of this season while serving an NCAA suspension. And so the Braves had to play without him for the first month of the year. But he's off to a great start here at Redbird Arena this afternoon.
If you're 7 feet and you've got a touch like that, kind of seems unfair.
It's hard to teach 7 feet, isn't it?
Can't teach size.
You're either born with it or you're not. We're going to see Nadu Onyuku for the first time for Illinois State. He'll check in to replace Khalif Ford. And after the 2 made foul shots from Patrick O'Brien, he has 9 of Bradley's 12.
Now that pushes Neal to play the point for Illinois State. And Bradley's going to go to a press because of that.
And it's a steal in the backcourt by J.J. Twy. He picked off the Dana Ford pass. Bennett looks inside to O'Brien, who now just cleared some space out for him, but it's going to be Somerville to a wide open Daniel Ruffin from the corner. Braves running their offense very nice.
Good pass by Somerville. You know, Bradley leads the Valley in assists, and I think you can see why with that ball movement.
It's a 12-point lead. The Braves have 15 points in the first 4+ minutes of this game and have a 15-3 advantage in normal. All right, the Redbirds calling timeout to try to regroup here. They're down by 12 points. Bradley's out to a 15-3 lead thanks to 5 of 8 shooting from the field. Shooting 63% here on the road. Now it's Plank down low around a double team looking for help. He slips the ball to Dilligard, whose first 2 points of the game.
Nice look. He's going to have a smaller guy on him as long as he plays the point. Neal might be able to find some people down low.
Bennett, lob down to O'Brien. Ball is tipped out to Ruffin, though. Levi Dyer's got his hands full on the low block now with O'Brien.
He's working very hard to try and keep O'Brien out of there. We got a mismatch now.
Somerville thought about the three, drops it down to O'Brien, who's hacked again.
Bradley can really pass the ball around the perimeter. That's going to be a challenge.
His first 3 team fouls from the Redbirds. Officials.
10-point Bradley lead, 15-5 early goings here at Redbird Arena. At Redbird Arena, Illinois State having a difficult time scoring so far, but that was a nice pass from Neal Plank to Greg Dilligard.
The Redbirds have a disadvantage on the offensive end because they have a limited number of point guards, but that also gives them an advantage to post somebody like Neal because he's got a height advantage. So while he's not a point guard, if he can get the ball in and get the offense started, he can go down low and maybe take advantage of Ruffin, who is about 5'11".
Don't forget, coming up at halftime, we'll have your halftime stats and highlights. We'll also have a WMBD News Channel 31 update from the news department, and also we'll hear from Illinois State Athletics Director Cheyenne Singer. About 10 months on the job. He'll give us his impressions of his first year at Illinois State. That's all coming up at the half here at Redbird Arena. Bradley 15, Illinois State 5. Kurt Pegler, Todd Cagle with you here in the renewal of the I-74 rivalry. Bradley trying to sweep the Redbirds for the second time in 3 years and off to a good start. Patrick O'Brien has had his way down low, and he's going to be right back at the free throw line. He's already been there 4 times here in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's had a lot of work so far. The Illinois State staff was very concerned about Bradley's spurtability, meaning they can score a lot of points in a hurry. And if we start here with the first 5 minutes of the game, we've got a 16-5 run. Somehow ISU's going to have to close that gap and not let Bradley continue to spurt.
O'Brien splits the foul shots now. He has 10 of the Braves' 16 points, and we've got a whistle against the Braves' J.J. Twy.
Good look ahead by Neal there to get it out and get going. He's on the floor there, attacking the basket as hard as he can and drawing the foul.
That's Roberto Fortes, who has entered the ball game. He had a career-high 24 minutes at Drake on Tuesday night and contributed 7 points and 7 rebounds and helping the Redbirds nearly erase a 17-point deficit.
Got a couple new players in the game. Looks like a unique lineup for ISU right here.
Yeah, Mike Vandelo is in the game for the first time, too, and now a steal for the Braves who come away with it. It's the second turnover against Illinois State. Well, Bradley so far, Todd, has been able to control it on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively.
Now, we talked about this. Porter going into the timeout, he was going to talk about how he can defend the big post for Bradley. Yes, he looks like he's going to go to a zone here and see how that works.
Lawrence Wright in the game for the first time and fresh off the bench. He hit the jumper from the baseline left.
And Bradley turns their defense into, it looks like a 1. That's a 2-3 right there.
The Braves are 6 of 9 from the field to open this ball game, and a 13-point advantage. Plank tries to answer, and he knocks down a 3. That was a big basket for the Birds.
You got to be aggressive against the zone when you find a hole.
Neal Plank, who's a 30% three-point shooter, knocks down the triple for his first points of the game. Here's Lawrence Wright again. Got some contact. Ronnie Carlwell comes away with it. He's in the game for the Redbirds. And running the floor. Plank tries to get it back to him. He's on the baseline. He's in trouble. His shot is up and changed by O'Brien. Ball's out of bounds. It's going to go to Bradley.
It's Bradley ball. Substitution for the Braves, number 4, Will Franklin checks in. Replaces Daniel Ruffin.
Local Illinois State crowd as usual. Of course, the refs aren't going to get off easy.
Will Franklin is checked in the ball game now for the first time for the Braves, along with Danny Adams, the Metamora High School product. So it's Adams, Bennett, Franklin, O'Brien, and Lawrence Wright on the floor for Bradley.
ISU goes to full court pressure.
They do. Redbirds have Plank, Carlwell, Onyuku, Fortes, and Mike Vandelo on the floor. 10-point Bradley lead with a basketball. Near steal that time by Nadu. Now it's Adams, top of the circle. 3 is in and out. He's one of those streaky shooters, usually comes in, puts up a couple of threes for the Braves. Onyuku. Dribble drive, missed a shot, tipped out. Bradley comes away with it, whistle away from the basketball, and it's going to be against the Redbirds, it looks like. No, it's against Tony Bennett.
Although Nadu missed that shot, I think Illinois State really needs his aggressiveness in this game. It's going to be plays like that that are going to enable Illinois State to get easy baskets. I'm sure he'll be able to get inside again, and at that time he's got to knock it down. But I know Porter's excited about seeing him be a little bit more aggressive offensively.
Khalif Ford and Greg Dilligard have now re-entered the ball game, and they send Carlwell and Plank to the Illinois State bench. Now it's Fortes who gets the inbound. We've played just over 7 minutes, and Bradley has a 10-point lead. They did at one point have an 11-point lead. It's the largest of the game. Ford had his pass knocked down, got it right back.
Illinois State will try to post Dilligard.
There he is on Somerville, and he hits the hook shot off the glass.
That's exactly the action that Porter's looking for on a more regular basis. They need to get the ball to Dilligard.
And now the Braves throw it away.
Dilligard is their only double-digit scorer. He wants Dilligard to have as many touches as he can get throughout this game today.
And Jim West telling his Braves to extend the pressure full court here.
The Bradley staff must see something with the way the Birds attack the press offense here.
And Mike Vandelo has to call timeout, so Porter Moser will regroup and see how his team can break that pressure. Bradley's one of those teams, Todd, that is very streaky, and we're seeing them on a very good streak, and then your offense tends to beat off your defense.
We talked about the spurtability factor for Bradley, and obviously Coach Les and the Bradley staff see something they can exploit with the Redbirds on the offensive end, bringing it down the floor against the press. They want to try and spurt this game out as quick as they can, as fast as they can, and they think the press is the way to do that.
Well, certainly the ISU Redbirds are not hiding the fact that the point guard position this year has kind of been up for grabs. They've had Khalif Ford on it, they've had Neil Plank. When you don't have stability at the point guard position, it's awfully hard for you to have a sound way to break a press a lot of times.
You know, it's funny, coming into this year, Illinois State had played, Greg Alexander, Trey Guidry, Vince Green, all those years, all those minutes. I mean, these guys are really getting their first taste of kind of being in the action here.
Redbirds do a nice job breaking the pressure that time. Dilligard down the floor.
Aggressiveness by Nadu again. That's really going to be helpful to take the pressure off Dilly.
Redbirds within 6. It's the closest they've been since very early in the ball game.
With O'Brien out of the game, Somerville now takes that responsibility on. They'll try and push the ball to him now on the low block.
Timeout on the floor. 11:56 to go till halftime. The Redbirds are closing within 6. It's Bradley 18, Illinois State 12 here at Redbird Arena.
Kurt, this is the play that Illinois State likes to call screen, dive, and then slip. He dives to the low block. Dilligard puts it. He's very effective around the basket. Porter will come up with some really unique ways to get him the ball down low. A lot of it will be him screening out on the perimeter, and like I said, he'll dive to the post.
And you mentioned that when Patrick O'Brien was not on the floor, that was the time that the Redbirds would try to take advantage, which they did there.
Yeah.
Greg Dilligard is a guy that we mentioned as being one of the better defenders in the Missouri Valley Conference, certainly one of the most improved players in the league. And at the beginning of the year, Porter Moser said that Greg Dilligard has to get more selfish. He's got to want to take the basketball. He's going to want to take more shots. Because as you just mentioned a moment ago, he's been used to playing with Trey Guidry and Greg Alexander and Vince Green and Lorenzo Gordon, guys that were shooting the basketball. Now that's his responsibility.
Yeah, he was one of the few returning scorers that Illinois State had at the start of the season. And he's still, really one of the only scorers. So he's got to take on the role and the leadership on the offensive end as well.
.11:52.
Somerville likes to screen and then pop out for a three-point shot on those plays on the out of bounds.
Now it's right from the baseline left. He's hit one from the baseline right and from the baseline left. 4 points for Lawrence Wright, 8-point Bradley advantage. The Braves defense is extending the Redbirds way out to the perimeter here too.
There's a screen. Vandelo will probably dive. Nader's going to take it himself.
He got a little too far into the basket that time. Braves come away with it. It's Franklin. He waits for some help. Now Wright, who's got the hot hand. Missed it that time. Ball's on the floor. In the corner, the Redbirds come away with it.
Bradley likes this pace right now.
And Khalif Ford's pass is picked off. Quick hands again from the Braves. It's Franklin that comes away with it, but he lost it on the floor. But Danny Adams was there to get it. Now Adams thought about the three. Inside to Somerville. Ball knocked out of his hands. Dilligard goes and chase for the Redbirds. Getting a little sloppy out there now.
When you play in a game like this, you just got to ignore the refs. You just got to get after it and not worry about what's going to be called and what's not going to be called.
Angelo draws the foul on Will Franklin to further.
Looks like the officials are going to let this be a normal Missouri Valley Conference game, huh?
Vandalo and Onyuku leave the Illinois State lineup. Danny Adams leaves the Bradley lineup, so we're seeing Patrick O'Brien re-enter the game for the Braves. Levi Dyer's back in the game for Illinois State as well.
Number 13, Patrick O'Brien returns.
Khalif Ford the trigger for the Redbirds, who trail at 20-12. Now it's Cortez. O'Brien got a key block. Give him a block on that one. O'Brien with 75 blocks last year. That's his 42nd of the season this year. And now a block on the other end for the Redbirds. Both teams showing some defense.
If Illinois State's got numbers, they will attack. If not, they'll bring it back out and they'll try and work the clock.
Here's Dilligard. Now it's Fortes. His three over Franklin.
Good pass by Greg Dilligard there. He created that shot for Fortes.
Just the ninth three-point make of the season for Fortes, who's a 26% shooter from beyond the arc. But as we mentioned, he had a nice game against Drake on Tuesday and getting some minutes here against the Braves this afternoon.
I think Porter's feeling a little bit more confident in Fortes, leaving him on the floor a bit longer.
Right. His pass hit the rim that time, and it's out of bounds. It's going to go to Illinois State. Is that right? No, they're going to say it was a traveling violation. They say that perhaps Dana Ford stepped on the baseline. Mike Sanzier giving the explanation that Porter Moser doesn't like to hear.
Out of bounds underneath, Bradley likes to score off this play. Typically, this is a shot for Somerville at the top of the key.
Somerville this time to trigger, so we'll see if he runs to the top of the key after starting the play. Looked inside on the lob to O'Brien instead of a lob out to Tony Bennett.
Looks like the play probably broke down there.
9.5 to go here in the opening half. 5-point Bradley advantage. Somerville walked.
He did. That was a good call. A little shuffle of the steps there.
Let's reset it for you. Dana Ford, Neil Plank, Greg Dilligard, Levi Dyer on the floor for the Redbirds, along with who else is out there? Roberto Cortez, couldn't see behind the screen. Lawrence Wright on the floor, and now a steal from Daniel Ruffin. He picked a pocket of Cortez, who fouled him.
Tough play for Illinois State there. He looks like he just lost the handle. Michael Ruffin's so quick, though. I think he got him on the hand.
You know, Ruffin is one of those guys who has just blossomed into a nice player for the Braves. Still just a sophomore, but very confident out there. Of course, won a state championship with Peoria Central in high school basketball. He's been around successful teams most of his life.
Illinois State really wanted Michael Ruffin to come to Normal. They just couldn't quite pull it off and convince him to leave Peoria.
Well, Daniel Ruffin's hitting now 25 straight free throws. It's the first time he's been to the foul line in 4 games. So he's hit 25 in a row from the foul line. After a 4-game hiatus, he found himself back to the foul stripe and still had the touch. His first 2 points of the night gave the Braves a 7-point advantage at 22-15.
Bradley is going to pressure Illinois State all day long.
And now Dilligard, nice catch and shoot. He couldn't get it to go down. Now he chases the ball in the corner and saves it. But he saves it right to Patrick O'Brien.
They got numbers.
Back up the floor is Ruffin. His short shot is in and out and tipped out of bounds, and it's going to go to the Redbirds.
What's the old saying? You're never supposed to save the ball under your own basket?
That's right.
I think he got caught there. He was in the corner.
But at that point, it's not too bad to throw it out in front of that basket. That's the Bradley basket, right? If you do it under your own basket, you might be throwing it to an opposing player. Cortez, he already has 1 3 and knocked down a second one.
I think he's feeling a little bit because I don't think that's a shot he would normally take. Not only does Porter have confidence in him, but I think he's got a little confidence right now as well.
6 points for Cortez, who's career high is 7, so he's knocking on the door to a new career high and a whistle against the Braves.
I think they got Somerville on the push-off. Is that right?
They do have it against Somerville. Second foul on Marcellus Somerville. Lawrence Wright is heading to the scorer's table.
That is such a tough matchup for Illinois State. Somerville is so strong. He's going out of the game right now. He's so strong. He can put it on the floor. He can shoot from the perimeter, and he can absolutely post. That's the key for Illinois State, to have him sitting on the side for a little bit.
And we're seeing Jeremy Crouch now enter the game for Bradley. He's seen a significant decrease in his minutes thanks to the emergence of Will Franklin in the Bradley backcourt. Now it's Dyer again. He's got 2 3-point makes today. And the Redbirds are within 1.
If he gets his feet set, I've played with him before. He can shoot that all day long. He's as good of a shooter as anybody out there.
He's kind of got that European style where those perimeter players are sometimes 6'10", 6'11" in Europe. He likes to shoot from the outside, and now there's going to be a whistle against Illinois State. I think Dyer's the guilty party.
Where Dyer will screen and roll out to the 3-point line, Dilligard will screen and roll towards the basket.
That foul was whistled against Roberto Cortez, his second. Timeout on the floor. We've got ourselves a basketball game. Bradley 22, Illinois State 21 at Redbird Arena. Movement throughout the country. All the college coaches across the board today wearing their tennis shoes along with their street clothes in a unified fight against cancer.
Are you wearing tennis shoes right now?
I should be, and I'm not, but I guess I got to be a coach to wear them. Inside to guess who? Patrick O'Brien.
Easy baskets. That's going to be tough. Now the thing, we did a check there at about the 15-minute point, and Bradley had spurted out, but Illinois State has come all the way back here to close it to within 3. ISU's got to hold that next Bradley spurt down before half.
Here's Dyer again. Another 3.
He's feeling it. Ring him up.
Levi Dyer has now equaled his career high of 9 points, and we've only played 12 minutes.
Patrick O'Brien will have not covered a 7-footer that's his peer that can shoot the basketball like Levi. That's why he's going to be challenged with that, because he's not used to being out there.
We're tied at 24, our first tie since 0-0. Lawrence Wright, the short shot, and now the Redbirds actually have a chance for their first lead of the day. Plank to Dyer, another 3. That one won't go down.
Good look by Neal. You got to look for the guy that's got the hot hand.
Ruffin penetrates. Now it's Tony Bennett. He misses the 3. Offensive board for Lawrence Wright.
One of the things we haven't talked about yet is the crowd. Bradley has got to keep the crowd out of this game, and right now Illinois State's got the crowd fully invested.
Weak side help that time for Dana Ford, who got his hand on another steal. 46 on the season now for Ford. The pair of Fords on the floor, Khalif Ford and Dana Ford.
Other than Vandalo, you're not going to find a guy who's going to post regularly here for Illinois State. Be interesting to see what they try and get out of this possession.
7 to shoot. Plank penetrates, lost the ball on the floor, flipped it back up. He's going to get to the free throw line.
Neal's being a little bit more aggressive here. He's driven to the basket, I think, 3 straight possessions now. And there he goes along the baseline. Able to recover and then draw the foul. Had a chance for 3 there.
Another academic honor this week for Neal Plank, who was named All-Academic District 5. I know you can appreciate the fact that this guy hits the books. He's got a 3.9 GPA in business administration.
He can do it on the floor and in the schoolroom. I think another guy from Southern also, Tatum, also was on that team as well. Now the interesting thing about Neal, we were talking to Coach before the game, the Illinois State point guards struggle at the foul line. In fact, I think ISU for the year shoots 57% as a team. Both Neal and Khalif would probably be on the lower end of that.
Now the senior from Mount Zion Makes the second free throw, and the Redbirds have their first lead of the afternoon. It's 26-24 Illinois State.
He proves me wrong.
Redbirds back in their man-to-man defense now, huh? Here's O'Brien. He draws a triple team. And around a defender and in, and a three-point opportunity now for Patrick O'Brien.
Wow, that was some strength. He had 3 guys on him. Porter told us before the game they were going to double and triple down. It didn't bother O'Brien. I'd say normally he should just throw that back out, but with the strength and the size advantage he's got, might as well just be aggressive.
Ronnie Carwell whistled for his first foul. That's the 6th team foul against the Redbirds. And Patrick O'Brien's been a one-man wrecking crew here for the Braves in the first half.
Those are the types of plays that the guys sitting behind us want to see out of O'Brien.
15-point opening half for Patrick O'Brien. He has 15 of his team's 27.
He went to the Pete Newell big man's camp this summer. I guess he had just a stellar summer, and he kind of became a hidden secret to maybe a little bit more of a well-known name around a big man circle.
Well, like you said, you really can't teach 7 foot. Either you have it or you don't. And you take advantage of that height, you're going to get some looks from the NBA. Here's Carwell. Offensive board and hit the baby hook.
Good move.
Carwell had a big game against the Braves here last year. 8 points and a big second half stretch to help Illinois State beat Bradley in Normal last January. Now Somerville from the outside missed it. Ford had it knocked out of his hands. The Redbirds have numbers now.
They got numbers.
Oniuku all the way down. He feeds to a trailing Neal play.
Great court awareness. Good trail by Neal. Birds got it rolling now.
A 3-point lead for Illinois State. They're largest of the game, and the crowd's on its feet.
Boy, there's some battling going on underneath.
O'Brien, little hook. He may have walked this time. He did.
As opposed to Levi Dyer, Ronnie Carwell is doing a better job of pushing him out towards the block.
Now Jim Les calls timeout. He wants to regroup his troops. Well, the Redbirds have taken advantage of the numbers on the fast break and have scored a couple in transition here, and suddenly they're in front by 3. What a turn of events, huh?
Although this game is playing to the pace of Bradley, when Illinois State has the numbers, they have to take advantage of them. I know they want to slow the game down, get the best shot available, but in a situation like that, they've got to take the easy points.
And it's helped the Redbirds' shooting percentage. Now they're up at 48% here in the opening half, 11 of 23, thanks to a couple of those baskets. 4:03 to go here in this opening half. A 3-point lead now for Illinois State at 30-27. Ronnie Carwell, we mentioned, gave Illinois State some solid minutes in the victory over the Braves last year here in Normal, and giving them some solid minutes here in the first half this afternoon.
Well, it's been an exciting game so far.
Now Neal Plank to trigger for Illinois State. Again, full court pressure by the Braves, who then back off. So it's Ford, Plank, Dilligard, Dyer, and Oniuku on the floor for the Redbirds. Ruffin comes away with a steal. He tries to flip it ahead to Tony Bennett, and it's out of bounds. And the Braves trying to take advantage of the steal, but ran out of real estate. Tony Bennett couldn't catch that one before it wound up in the front row. 3:51 to go here till halftime. Good basketball game in Normal, where the Redbirds have a 30-27 lead over Bradley.
To happen again, this is kind of a typical Bradley ISU game right here.
I don't think anybody expected another 29-point lopsided affair. The Braves really came out and controlled the second half of that game, and it's been a different story here in the opening half of this one.
I'll tell you, if Illinois State can continue its hot streak from three-point land, they'll be able to stay here all day.
Here's Levi Dyer. He's got 4 3-pointers, and right on cue, Todd.
Levi must be trying to make me look good or something.
Levi Dyer now with a new career high of 12, and all of his points have come on 3-point shots. Somerville's shot is contested. Now it's Dilligard, who's being chased by Bennett. Now the ball's on the floor. Ruffin comes away with a steal. He gets it all the way down. Somerville's short shot missed, tipped up by O'Brien, couldn't get it, got it back and got fouled.
Bad decision by Illinois State on the break there, throwing it out to Dilligard, who's probably not the best ball handler that Illinois State has to offer. And Bradley's going to turn it into some points.
Here's another look at that sequence down below. O'Brien staying with it and drawing the foul. He's going to get right back to the free throw line where he's already been 6 times here in the first half. He had a 19 rebound game this year against Wichita State, which is still a league best effort. You see Somerville go to the Bradley bench, replaced by Lawrence Wright.
Outside of Bradley, Wichita State's probably got the best front line in the league, too, so that's an unbelievable day.
And O'Brien makes both of his free throws. He is now 6 of 7 from the line. 16 points for Patrick O'Brien in this opening half. Check that, 17 points now. He's 7 of 8 from the foul line.
All right, Porter's going to have Dilligard post hard and keep Levi out on the perimeter. He's going to try and work his bigs now.
Here's Ford working on Bennett. His pass is deflected out of bounds by Lawrence Wright.
For Levi again. He's got the hot hand. You got to touch him right now.
Under 3 minutes left here in this first half.
Both teams like to score on out-of-bounds plays. Oh, he missed it.
8 on the shot clock now. Ford guarded by Ruffin. Takes it down on Daniel Ruffin. Missed the shot. And the ball is tipped around and controlled by the Braves. And we got a foul in the backcourt on Neil Plank.
Dilligard had him posted hard. I think that would have been an easy basket. Just missed him. Just didn't get a chance to see him.
So Plank whistled for his first foul, and we'll go back to the other end of the floor for some free throws. And as we mentioned, Ruffin is a very good foul shooter now. 25 straight free throw makes for the sophomore from Peoria Central.
He leads the Valley in assists this year. Like you said, really good free throw shooter. You like to have it in his hands, definitely at the end of the game.
Yeah, Ruffin averaging about 6 assists per game in Valley play to lead the league. It's a 33-31 Illinois State advantage now, under 2.5 to go here until halftime. Bradley at one point had an 11-point first half lead. Plank slips it down to Dilligard. Quit a shot blocked.
Bradley's on the move again.
Now it's Ruffin to the front court. Here's Lawrence Wright. His 18-footer is missed, tipped around, and it's going to be a foul this time against the Braves.
I think Wright can hit that shot. I'm not sure if Jimmy Les wants him pulling that quickly. I know they want to get up and down the court, but I think that might have been an ill-advised shot, especially with the way their bigs are posting.
1-1.
And so now free throws on the other end of the floor. Will Franklin's going to come into the game for Bradley as Dana Ford goes to the foul line. As we're up at this 2-minute mark here in the first half, and now Ronnie Carlwell's going to come in, and he'll spot Levi Dyer. And Levi gets a nice round of applause as he heads back to the Illinois State bench. What a first half he's had.
They've shuffled those 3 guys in and out to try and battle Somerville and O'Brien. They cannot afford to have any of those guys get in foul trouble. Porter's doing the best he can with what he's got. I mean, he's fighting tooth and nail. In fact, on the defensive end, I'd say he coaches as hard as he can on the defensive end to get as much as he can out of those guys.
And this guy at the foul line is one of those really good defensive players that Porter Moses helped turn into a terrific defensive player.
He's got a chance to set the single-season record for steals at Illinois State. There's a lot of good players that have played here that can steal the basketball. That'd be a real compliment for Dana Ford.
Yeah, the record is 61 for Illinois State. He has 45 heading into the game. Lawrence Wright couldn't get the ball in bounds, so he asked for a 30-second timeout, and so Jim Les will try to see what he can do to get that ball in bounds.
Once again, Porter is going to coach effort on the defensive end. That's what he's got to work with. They play incredible defense. I think they allow, 57, 58 points per game?
Right.
Already Bradley's got 31. He'd love to be under 60 here today.
We're 2 minutes and 5.
Half, and what I mean by that is that they need to extend the possession. Take the time off the clock here, and do not let Bradley spurt back out. They would like to go into the locker room at least up 3 here, I'd assume.
This time Wright gets the ball into Ruffin. Double team in the backcourt, but quickly the Braves get it up the front court now. It's Wright to Franklin, and O'Brien momentarily open, but instead they'll reload the offense with Ruffin at the timeline.
And Porter's going to extend the shot clock, like I said, with his zone here. Make him work it around a little bit. That's a good move. He doesn't want to go into the locker room up 3. He wants to go in up more than that.
Ruffin missed the shot. It didn't touch anything, so there's only 5 seconds to go on the shot clock.
Better get it up.
Franklin's bailout 3 is no good, and it's in the far corner. It's going to go to the Redbird. And now Levi Dyer's immediately off the Redbird bench, and he'll come in and he'll send Ronnie Carlwell back to the bench, an offense for defensive switch.
He's going to play the substitution pattern. I'd like to see a set here. I'm sure he's going to call something to get one of those 2 big guys a shot, and I bet they don't shoot it too early in the shot clock. If they do, we might see Porter a little hot.
Well, Porter Moser said you're right, that he really wants to limit the number of possessions in this basketball game. That gives his team, he thinks, a better chance at winning.
Watch a slip. Dyer on the shot again.
Plank slipped it inside to Dilligard. What a pretty play that was.
Good pass by Neal. He's been aggressive, and he's found Dilly twice.
Dilligard now with 6. We're under a minute to go in the half. The Redbird lead is 5. Lawrence Wright dropped down to O'Brien. Had the ball tipped out of his hands. Now it's Wright. Short jumper rolls out and tipped back out. Redbirds have it. It's Plank ahead to Ford. Kick out to Dyer. He'll try another 3. It's way short this time.
Illinois State's going to stay in the zone. Bradley's going to go for 1.
There's about a half a second differential between the game clock and the shot clock.
Now they're going to go man.
6 to
High
shoot.
ball screen. He's going to dive hard.
It's Ruffin working on Ford, flipped it up and in, and Daniel Ruffin scores right before the halftime buzzer. The Braves get the points they want as they head to the locker room, but Illinois State has the lead. It's ISU 36 and Bradley 35 at the half here at Redbird Arena. Halftime here at Redbird Arena, Illinois State 36 and Bradley 33. Kurt Pegler, Todd Cagle with you from Normal. Braves started out on fire. Todd had an 11-point first half lead, but the Redbirds kept chipping away, and now they've got the halftime advantage.
It was Illinois State's defense at about the 10-minute mark that really took a hold of this game. And then on the other end of the floor, Illinois State is 7 of 11 from the three-point line. Probably something that's a little bit unexpected for Illinois State team this year. But Illinois State is 7-0 when leading at halftime. Porter can just be thrilled over this effort.
Big difference again at halftime. Illinois State with halftime here at Redbird Arena, where Illinois State leads Bradley 36-33 in the rematch of the I-74 rivalry. Kurt Pegler along with Jayen Zenger, who's the new Illinois State athletics director. I know you've been on campus for about 10 months or so. Can you give us your impressions of Illinois State and the community here in Central Illinois? What are your first thoughts?
Absolutely. I tell you what, I can't help but talk about Illinois State without talking about 7 intangibles, and they simply have to do with the name brand itself, the location, the community size, the campus population, the academic standards, the Redbird history, and the leadership of Al Bowman. I challenge any school in the conference or in the Big 10 or Big 12 for that matter to have those 7 intangibles.
We know that you feel like you've just scratched the surface to what you've got on the horizon for Illinois State. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have planned for some of the facilities and some of the things on the horizon?
Absolutely. In the first 6-7 months, we've really focused on some reorganization, some strategic planning, and really getting our legs underneath us, trying to build some harmony in the department and some outreach amongst the Redbird faithful. But the next step is really what we would refer to as a capital campaign. There are 5 projects that really loom in front of us that are of utmost importance. The completion of Redbird Arena, which has a lot to do with completion of locker rooms, new baseball stadium, upgrade of our softball stands, new tennis courts, and last but not least is a renovation of Hancock Stadium.
And March is always annual fun time here at Illinois State, so that's like you said, it's a separate season for you, isn't it, in the month of March?
Yeah, you know, for the administration, this is kickoff. As soon as basketball ends, the administration goes to work on the fund drive. And it just, I can't emphasize how important that's going to be for this institution. Not so much, the money's important, but for us right now, it's the numbers. It's not just the donors who are with us, but re-recruiting those that we have maybe lost in the not-so-distant past and bringing in more and more folks.
Sounds like you're having a little bit of fun. Just a slight amount of fun here at Normal, huh?
Absolutely. I wish we didn't have to sleep. If we didn't have to sleep, we could get more done.
Dr. Shane Zenger, thanks for the visit. Appreciate it. Courtside with the new ISU Athletics Director. Redbirds lead 36-8, has a 36-33 halftime lead over the Bradley Braves. Let's take a look at some of the highlights that shaped the first 20 minutes of play. We'll start with Bradley.
There's O'Brien on the inside. We'll probably see a rerun of that a couple times. Somerville with the layup. Right with the jumper. That was one of his 2 made field goals. He was 2 for 8 in the first half. There's O'Brien being strong again. So we'll see another. Here we go. One more of him. He's strong underneath.
And here's a look at the Illinois State highlights.
Well, Levi for his first 3. That guy kind of got the crowd going. There's Dilligard on the inside. He had a couple layups in the first half. Here he's working the post again. That was one of the transition baskets for Illinois State. And there's a pass from Dilligard out to Fortes for a 3-point shot. And then Levi hits the last 3. I think he had 4 threes in that first half.
Yeah, he was just raining jumpers from the outside as Levi Dyers made a living on the perimeter. We take a look at the first half statistics as you see another slip pass in to Greg Dilligard. You see the field goal percentage differential for Illinois State, 46-35. Bradley has the edge at the foul line with 92%. But the big difference really is the three-point shooting. ISU at 64% and Bradley at 25%. And the Braves are out-rebounding Illinois State 21-15. And the turnovers are about the same with a 9-7 advantage going. Bradley actually having 2 more turnovers than Illinois State. Now we're underway here, second half. Illinois State with the lead in the basketball and the home whites with Bradley in the road red uniforms. Man-to-man defense again for the Braves.
2 weeks ago, we saw when the Redbirds came out of halftime, they just didn't perform the way they wanted to. I'm sure they talked about that during the break.
Well, the first half started so decidedly in the favor of the Braves. We mentioned they had an 11-point lead at one point before the Redbirds came back after a hot hand from the outside, and that three-point shooting certainly made up the difference.
Illinois State's defense needs to continue to control the game. The last 7 minutes and 39 seconds, Bradley was 3 of 13 from the field. Illinois State needs to replicate that effort.
Both teams are starting the second half with the 5s that they started the basketball game with. Here's Ruffin, down to O'Brien. Missed the shot, got his own rebound. Inside again, ball's on the floor, and this time it's going to the Redbirds.
That was a set play out of the halftime with O'Brien getting a chance to dive towards the basket. Just didn't convert that one.
Jim Less is all the way down out of the coaching box having a conversation with Mike Sanzier about the contact underneath the hoop.
You know, with those tennis shoes on, it looks like Coach Les could just kind of throw the uniform on and get back out there.
Yeah, the coaching staffs from both teams wearing tennis shoes today in support of the Coaches Against Cancer program throughout the country. Dilligard lost the ball out of bounds. It'll be off of O'Brien, so the Redbirds will maintain possession.
Dilligard needs to stay aggressive. I'm sure Porter talked to him about that many times throughout the year. He needs to stay aggressive in this game.
Now it's Plank. Driving, blocked by Twy. Somerville gives it back to Twy, and he's going to wait for some help. Stutter step on the baseline. And it's going to be a foul against Illinois State's Khalif Ford.
Khalif has a tendency to put his hands on the offensive player. He's got to be able to move his feet without putting his hands on the ball handler.
His first foul, the Redbirds' first of the second half. We're just underway here, opening moments of this second half. Illinois State with a 3-point lead. We've yet to see a point here scored in the second half.
Levi's matched up once again. There's a double team.
That's a triple team that O'Brien shoots around. Redbirds turn it over. Dana Ford called for the walk. That's the 8th Illinois State turnover.
That last play, there were 3 guys around O'Brien. Porter has put a premium on making sure that he does not get off in the second half.
Well, the Redbirds are trying a a shuffling system of Ronnie Carlwell, Levi Dyer, Greg Dilligard, anybody that can have a body to put it on a big 7-footer.
And you notice all the people that were double teaming him were the bigs from Illinois State. It was not the guards.
J.J. Twy with a nice move, and he hits the little finger roll, pulls the Braves to within 1. That's Twy's first basket of the game.
Token pressure by Ruffin. There's a slip.
Ford's pass was intended for Dilligard and picked off by the Braves. The 9th Illinois State turnover. Now Bradley's got a chance to reclaim the lead. It's Ruffin penetrating, and he throws up kind of a wild shot over the top of the backboard. I think he was looking for some contact at that point. Didn't get it. Now we're seeing Roberto Fortes re-enter the game for Illinois State and send Dana Ford back to the Redbird bench.
Interesting thing about Bradley's defense is they've already shut off Dilligard for the dive, and then next Levi comes over to set the screen for the fade. Illinois State's going to have to get into 3rd and 4th options offensively if they want to continue to have success against the defense.
Plank's pull-up jumper from the foul line is no good. He's got his own rebound. Pump fake once, and O'Brien came over and swatted it out of there. Now it's Fortes for 3. He can't get it to go. Ruffin quickly in the front court.
Well, Ruffin really pushes the basketball. He's always find somebody that's open ahead of him.
You see why he leads the conference in assists. He's up and down the floor in a hurry trying to create offense.
Where Somerville's dangerous.
Somerville had the ball knocked out of his hands by Dilligard.
That's the matchup we talked about at the beginning of the game. That won't be the last time those guys go at it.
J.J. Twy to trigger for the Braves now with 12 on the shot clock on this offensive possession. Ruffin to Somerville. He'll try the 3. He'll give the Braves the lead.
He's got that type of range. Dilligard's not used to guarding somebody on the perimeter as well. He's got that type of range. You got to honor him on the outside as well as on the inside.
Somerville with 6 points. He's got 2 3-point makes here tonight. 38-36, Bradley's first advantage of the second half. Fortes works the baseline, and we're back tied up.
Fortes has really become aggressive in the last couple games offensively.
Fortes now with a new career high. Give him 8 points now. He's knocked down a couple of 3-point shots, and now that driving layup on the baseline.
That's typically a play that Nadu has made throughout the years, but it's like Fortes is going to take on that role as well.
Now it's Somerville again. Here, the ball knocked out of his hands, a steal by the Redbirds. Now it's Khalees Ford. He tried to slip the ball to Neil Plank, and it's picked off that time by Ruffin. Now long lead pass ahead to Tony Bennett. He's up the floor in a hurry. He missed the shot, and it's Fortes that comes away with it, and he looked like he got poked in the eye or someplace. It's going to be a foul against Bradley.
Missed opportunities in transition by both teams, and then kind of a cheap one there on Bradley.
See if we can see the reach in here. And they're going to whistle it against Marcellus Somerville. That's his 3rd, and we've got a timeout on the floor. We're tied at 38 with 15:55 to go here at Redbird Arena. 2-point attempt this time by Roberto Fortes has tied his ball game on top.
Roberto Fortes, he finds an angle and he tacks the glass. O'Brien was not waiting for him underneath the basket. I'm sure he looked for him, right?
Fortes is a guy that likes to shoot the 3-point shot coming into the game. He had 38 attempts from the floor on the season, and 31 of them have been 3-point shots. So to actually see him take the ball inside the arch is rare.
Like I said, you got to keep your eyes open for number 13 in red, but if he's not there, continue to be aggressive.
And Bradley shows the full court pressure here as the Redbirds walk the ball up the floor.
If Bradley's going to continue to cut off the sets of Illinois State, that's the only way they're going to be able to score is by fast break points or also be able to find a seam and drive it in there.
Lawrence Wright is back in the basketball game now for Marcellus Somerville after Somerville picked up his 3rd foul in that last sequence before the break. Daniel Ruffin a near steal this time. 10 on the shot clock.
Broken play.
5 to shoot. Dilligard works the baseline, draws the foul, 3-point opportunity.
Great play by Dilligard. Limited seconds left on the shot clock. He had to take it forward. The old-fashioned 3-point play.
Well, you talk about a change in fortune. It was nearly a steal in the backcourt by Daniel Ruffin, and instead the Redbirds, as you mentioned, how it was a broken play. They were just looking for something, and they got a chance for a three-point opportunity.
Dilligard was able to make something happen. When he's aggressive, good things happen for Illinois State.
Ronnie Carlwell is now in the ballgame. He'll replace Levi Dyer, who goes to the Redbird bench.
And you know what's interesting is Illinois State has kind of fought off that spurt that Bradley wants to put on them at the beginning of the second half, unlike what happened in Peoria 2 weeks ago.
Well, that game was tied 30-30 at halftime, and then the Redbirds were held to just 14 second-half points, and it was a 29-point Bradley victory. Different story here this afternoon, much closer.
This might be the most athletic lineup that Illinois State could put on the floor.
O'Brien double teamed and fouled. His Onyuku came through on the weak side defense.
That's the double team we've talked about on O'Brien. As soon as he catches the ball, he's going to find people flying at him from all angles. He's just got to keep his composure and then try and look to get out of the double team, or he's actually scored on that triple team a couple times today.
That's the second foul on Onyuku, and the second team foul for the Redbirds. Mike Vandelo is going to come to the game and give Greg Dilligard a little breather. And Lawrence strikes the trigger for the Braves. Now it's Twy. He's guarded by Onyuku. Ruffin on the far side, guarded by Plank. Redbirds content to stay in that man-to-man defense for the time being.
You know, Porter's chosen to go with his older players today. We haven't seen Vandelo a lot. We haven't seen Brandon Holtz yet.
Twy. His pass picked off. Neil Plank comes away with it. Now the Redbirds go to the floor. Cortez all the way down. He draws contact, missed the shot, and Twy comes away with it for Bradley.
Got to convert on those.
Now it's Bennett in the front court, all the way down, scooped it up and in. Nice body control by Tony Bennett.
Boy, that's a tough four-point swing right there for Illinois State.
And we're back even at 40. Tony Bennett's first basket of the game. And another steal. Braves come away with it, and a foul this time against Illinois State as Bennett's on the floor at the timeline.
You know, something that's a lost art is the post feed from some of these guards. Obviously, the postman's got to post very hard, but you got to be able to fit that pass in there just at the right time to give that guy the chance to score. I think ISU struggled with that a little bit today. You know, Bradley struggled with that a little bit as well.
Dana Ford has re-entered the game for Illinois State, sending Onyuku back to the bench. We are tied at 40 as we approach the 14-minute mark left in this one. Bennett walks.
Couple extra steps there.
A dozen turnovers now committed by the Braves, and Levi Dyer is going to come back in for Illinois State. And Ronnie Carlwell, it looks like, will go to the Redbird bench.
You know, we've seen a lot of turnovers coming out of the half from both sides. I think players just really need to slow down, kind of gather themselves a little bit and let the game come back to them.
And you know, in this kind of a game, when it's a rivalry game, when the emotions are high, sometimes it's hard to slow the game down, isn't it?
It's hard. One play will start to get the pace up, and then you'll just be back and forth for a while. You got to keep your composure, keep your poise. Both coaches talked about that before the game, and they need to know who can be in the game and who they can count on.
Well, Dyer missed a three-point shot. After making 3 of his first 4 threes, he's now missed his last 3 three-point attempts.
Vandelo out top. There must be a mismatch someplace.
Now it's Ruffin had an open look. He's going to look inside to O'Brien, who's working on Dyer. Why tries to get it to him. There's some contact in the paint. It's going to go against the Redbirds.
4-around-1 motion set there with O'Brien underneath. Kind of going back to what their bread and butter was in the first half.
That's the 4th team foul whistled against Illinois State. Levi Dyer commits the foul, his 2nd.
ISU is working very hard to make sure that O'Brien doesn't get the easy looks he had in the first half.
Ruffin down the lane. Pull-up jumper from the foul line is good.
Nice play.
Ruffin
he controls
now,
his body very well when he gets off the dribble, doesn't he?
He's in double figures now with 11. He and O'Brien, the 2 Braves in double figures. 17 for O'Brien, 11 for Ruffin. 2 Redbirds in double figures. Dyer has 12 and Dilligard with 10.
Illinois State just starting to get set here with 16 seconds left on the shot clock.
Plank, he'll try the 3 ball and get it.
Great call by Porter to set Plank up for that.
Now Plank's in double figures. Give him 10. He's 2 for 2 from beyond the three-point line. Ruffin driving, floating, no good. O'Brien tried to tip it in, followed it back in. He got 2 cracks at the basketball that time, and now he got a technical foul, I think, against Jim Les.
I think Coach Les wanted 3 points on that play. He felt like O'Brien was having some guys hang on him as he tipped the ball in. O'Brien's fighting through a lot of the contact. I think that's what Coach Les is looking to protect his player.
Well, there's a technical foul being assessed to the Bradley bench, and I think I agree with you there, Todd. It appeared that he wanted some contact and a three-point opportunity. He didn't get it, and he must have said the magic words right into the officials. And Levi Dyer, who's a terrific foul shooter, just missed the first free throw.
You know, this game is boiling down to, can O'Brien score, or can the ISU Redbirds underneath defend? And Porter is coaching extremely hard to make sure his guys are in the right position. And then again, Coach Les is continually asking for the ball to be passed down low to O'Brien.
Well, Levi Dyer's 89% at the foul line, and he split his 2 free throws. The Redbirds have the basketball now, and we're back even at 44. Will Franklin has checked in now for Bradley. So Fortes, Ford, Vandalo, Levi Dyer, and Neil Plank on the floor for Illinois State. It's J.J. Twy, Will Franklin, Lawrence Wright, Tony Bennett, and Patrick O'Brien to 5 on the floor for Bradley.
Got a back cut here.
There's Ford, who's quickly cut off by O'Brien. He tried the fadeaway jumper, which wouldn't go down.
Good play. Bradley likes to extend their defense. Anytime you can get a guy to back cut towards the basket, good thing should happen. Just a tough shot by Dana.
Franklin, short shot, rims out. Levi Dyer for the Redbirds. Cortez is going to be called for a travel. And we've got a timeout on the floor. 11:31 to go here in regulation. We're all even. Bradley 44, Illinois State 44 at Redbird Arena. Action on both ends of the floor, Todd. Illinois State's going from the perimeter here.
You know, there are just times in the game where you need to call a set to get a good look. Porter does as good a job as anybody as getting his players good looks with the shot clock going down. Here's O'Brien battling for the rebound. This is a play that Coach Les wanted to foul for the three-point play.
And O'Brien now with 19 points in the game. His career high is 20, so he's knocking on the door to knocking in a new career high. He had 17 in the first half and really controlled the first about 5 or 6 minutes of play before Illinois State started to make a little comeback.
Illinois State's paying a lot of attention to him. I'm surprised that Somerville hasn't taken advantage of that yet. He's been kind of quiet today.
He has. He's 2 of 7 from the field. He's got 6 points. He's back in the ballgame now with 3 fouls.
ISU held him to no field goals in the last game. Looks like they're doing a good job again on him.
Yeah, he was 0 for 9 in the game in Peoria. He just made 4 points on foul shots. What kind of a defense here was in a zone D by the Redbirds?
We got a 2-3 zone. O'Brien's not in the game. ISU can extend the zone a little bit and kind of defend the three-point shooters.
And Dana Ford's going to be with him for the foul against Lawrence Wright. And so right now to the foul line.
Tough play there. I think Dana just got caught out of position a little bit. Porter and Coach Les do as good a job of anybody as manufacturing shots for their team, getting those guys open looks at the basket, and kind of controlling the play from the sidelines.
Wright is an interesting character at Bradley. He was a part of the All-Missouri Valley Conference bench team last year and then was a 15-game starter this year. Now he's kind of back in that reserve role and seems to not mind coming off the bench.
Bradley's going small here. They got 3 guys about 6 feet or under. Wright's going to play the 4 spot. The ISU should really look to go underneath.
Well, the Braves have had some success with a three-guard rotation. A lot of times J.J. Twy's part of that mix, but it's now Tony Bennett, Will Franklin, and Danny Ruffin, the 3-guard lineup right now on the floor for the Bradley Braves. 1 point, Bradley lead, Illinois State with a basketball.
Here's one of those sets we just talked about. Illinois State trying to manufacture a look here.
5 on the shot clock. Dana Ford puts up a shot. Tough shot, couldn't get it. Somerville the rebound.
ISU's really got to watch for Bradley spurt here. They really need to keep this game under control right at this point.
Ruffin. Now Somerville from the corner. That's good. Another three-point make now for Marcellus Somerville. All three of his made baskets tonight have been on three-pointers. He has 9 points, and now Porter Moser quickly calls for a 30-second timeout.
I think he might look at what his defensive strategy is. He's gone back and forth between the man and the zone. That's probably what they're talking about right now, how they can get open looks for their big guys.
Timeout on the floor. 10-11 to go here in regulation, and Bradley has opened up a 4-point lead. And again, he has 9 points, and he's a guy that we mentioned at the top of the broadcast can be so dangerous inside or outside. He's averaging 15 points a game. He's 18th on the school's all-time scoring list.
Now, Ruffin's feeling very comfortable with the ball in his hands right now, trying to create shots for others.
Full court pressure now as Redbird's having a difficult time to get it in, and on the 4 count, Neil Plank did get it in.
Let's see what Porter gets out of his timeout here. I'm sure he's designed to play for Dilligard or even Levi.
10 minutes to go in this one now. We're halfway through this second half. Here's Plank. Thought about penetrating, but kicks it out. Now Fortes on the dribble drive, and he's going to get a three-point opportunity.
He's finding some angles in the defense right now and exposing Bradley on the weak side. Good to see him be aggressive and be able to convert. There he is, slicing through the defense. A little bit of contact. Is that on Somerville?
We'll see who they whistle that foul on. I haven't seen who they've identified that on. The scouting report on Roberto Fortes is the guy shoots and shoots and shoots from the perimeter and doesn't score any twos, but we're seeing him put the ball on the floor and get to the basket here in the second half. He's adding to his offensive repertoire. And again, with each made point for Fortes, it adds to his career high. Now he has 11.
ISU goes with a little token pressure and then falls back into the man-to-man.
That foul, by the way, was whistled against Tony Bennett, his second, not against Somerville. That's Bennett with a basketball. Now it's Somerville from the corner where he just made a shot. He tries to spin and shoot, and now he's got a three-point play opportunity.
He's starting to feel it. He wants to take this game over right now, especially with number 13 on the bench for the Braves. He knows it's on his shoulders. There is not. He can put the basketball on the floor. Good shot. Right through the contact.
And so now Somerville with an opportunity for a three-point play.
That's why he's an NBA prospect as well. He can put it on the floor, and he can also go underneath.
Well, after a very quiet first half, which only saw him score 3 points, Marcellus Somerville is becoming a factor here in the second half. He's got 8 second-half points, 11 for the game. Bradley hanging on to that 4-point lead.
We talked about Bradley's ability to go ahead and spurt out. They're trying to make a run right now.
Here's Fortes, and we've got a whistle. It's going to be against Mike Vandelo, setting a screen for the Redbirds. And now O'Brien has come back in for the Braves. So Mike Vandelo picks up his first foul, and now that's 7 for Illinois State. So the Braves are now in the bonus with better than 9 minutes to go here in the half. And now Mike Vandelo will leave the game, and Ronnie Carwell will come back in.
Porter only wants Dilligard or Carwell on O'Brien. That was the reason for that substitution.
As we approach the 9-minute mark left in this one. 51-47. The Bradley Leader of Illinois State. Kurt Pegler, Todd Cagle with you for I-74 rivalry week. The Braves got the better of the game against the Redbirds in Peoria. And now they've got a 4-point lead in the basketball here in Normal. Here's Somerville.
Ruffin and Somerville feel really aggressive right now.
Short shot, no good. It's Dilligard that comes away with it for the Birds. Now Plank finds Fortes, who looked inside momentarily to Carwell. He'll take it inside and try to slip it over to Dilligard. Falls out of bounds, but it was going to go back to the Redbirds.
Carwell posted hard there. He had the guy swiveled behind his backside there. Khalif just didn't want to give it to him for some reason.
Fortes is off the inbounds now from 4. Now it's Plank on the switch out. His short shot is no good, and Somerville back to the Braves.
That's usually his shot. It's like Neal's hurt a little bit.
Yeah, he's grimacing as he's lifting up the floor and holding on to his ankle. Will Franklin a 3 now. And the Braves are on a little bit of a run here. Will Franklin.
Neal must have got knee in the calf or something. He'll be back.
Boy, Will Franklin has only made 8 3-point shots now on the season. He shoots 30%, but he was left open from beyond the arc, and he knocked it down. As you see now, Illinois State trainer John Munn is going to work on the ankle, it appears, of Neil Plank.
Illinois State has gone into just a bit of a valley here on the offensive end. They need to get better shots, be able to knock a couple down as well.
Ironically, we mentioned how different the halves were in the first game between Illinois State and Bradley and Peoria, how it was an even game at the half, and then Bradley really turned it up defensively in the second half. We're seeing a little bit of that here now in the second half. And now another steal, it looks like, by Ruffin. He comes away with it. He picked the pocket, and then it's Dilligard swatting the ball out of bounds.
Dilligard caught up to him, didn't he? Ruffin thought he was out in front, but Dilligard came with the long arms.
We've got an official's timeout on the floor. Daniel Ruffin had the steal. Greg Dilligard had the block. It's a 7-point Bradley lead, 54-47 here at Illinois State's Redbird Arena. Dilligard, as we mentioned, one of the better defenders in the league, and he had to quickly switch his mindset from being an offensive player to a defensive player there. And the Redbirds come back on the floor now, trailing Bradley by 7, and the Braves will have the ball out of bounds.
He put on 15 pounds worth of muscle over the summer, but he can still run.
Boy, it must be nice to be 20 years old and be able to do that, huh? Here's O'Brien off the lob, and Patrick O'Brien has a new career high. Give him 21 points now, and O'Brien is 7 of 12 from the floor.
They try to score on their out-of-bounds plays. They've done a good job of that all day.
Well, that Braves lead is now at 9 points at 56-47. It's their largest in the second half. They did own a brief 11-point lead in the first half. Dilligard on O'Brien, over O'Brien, and drew a foul on O'Brien.
Out of the timeout, I thought Porter would go right to Dilligard. He did. He got a good look. Aggressive, went at the basket, just weren't able to make the shot.
14th foul on Bradley. Redbirds have free throws coming.
Good look there. O'Brien is so long.
That's the second foul now whistled against Patrick O'Brien. Dilligard to the free throw line. Now this is an area of his game that he's really tried to work on. He's a 51% foul shooter, and as physical as Greg Dilligard plays, you know he's going to get to the free throw line when he's in there banging around.
We talked about ISU struggles from the foul line. It's good to see him hit a couple.
Redbirds break a little scoreless drought there. 7-point lead now for the Braves as Ruffin walks the ball up the floor as we approach the 7-minute mark left here at Redbird Arena.
You can see the ISU bench over there talking about defense. They really need to rely on their defense the rest of this game.
Franklin with Fortes on him. We're under 10 on the shot clock now. Tony Bennett going to go one-on-one with Ford. He gets a screen from Somerville. Scooped up, can't get it. Fortes, the defensive backcourt for Illinois State. Fortes looking inside to Dilligard now. He's posting up on Somerville. Now it's Levi Dyer. His 3 is in.
He's still filling it.
His first 3-point make of the second half has pulled Illinois State within 4.
All the attention on Dilligard allowed him to get that shot off.
A career high 16 points now for Levi Dyer. He's got 5 3-point shots and a free throw.
Crowd's back into it.
And now a steal. Dana Ford comes away with it. Fortes 4-3. That's missed. And tipped around and controlled by Somerville on a backcourt foul against Dilligard.
I don't like the shot there. Just a little too quick. I know Fortes has been feeling it all day. Maybe just work it so you can get a good possession. You cut it down to 4. Here he is. Oh, there's the Dilligard foul. You cut it to 4. You get a turnover. You want to make sure you can convert and get it down to 1 or 2. That's just a quick shot.
So the foul is against Dilligard. That's his third, and now he'll go to the Redbird bench, and Mike Vandelo, the freshman from the Quad Cities, will check in, and Somerville's going to go to the free throw line. Somerville's having one of those games, Todd, where you say, you know, there's a rough go, 4 out of 9 from the field. He must not be having a very good game. And then you look, and he's got 14 points.
They've been quiet except for in the second half. He's kind of had a couple nice plays, but they've been kind of quiet. ISU needs to somehow make its way to the 2 or 3 minute mark with Dilligard on the bench, but still kind of hang in there. Just be down 3, 4, 5. Next 3 minutes are key for Illinois State to be able to survive without their leader. Porter likes to have Plank in the game, kind of towards the end of the game, to be able to handle. They feel like he's got a little bit better time with pressure out top. They want to make sure every possession they get a good shot.
10 on the shot clock now. He hands to Fortes, who tries to dribble. Lost it off his shoe, it looked like, and the ball is loose, and it's going to be Bradley. So the Braves come away with a defensive stop there.
Bradley gets out in those lanes and really fights the passes. Seems like they get their hands on a lot of balls, don't they?
They sure do. Illinois State now with 15 turnovers. And the Braves will try to take advantage here as Ruffin brings the ball up the floor. Under 5.5 to go. It's a 6-point basketball game. Bradley with the basketball and the lead. Somerville working on Vandelo. Now a double team. Fortes comes to help. Bennett, long skip pass over the top. It's Franklin. It's going to be a foul on Vandelo.
Really good possession defensively there for Illinois State. Right at the end, though, kind of the flash cut. Vandelo didn't meet him at the box. Illinois State's doing a good job of helping and recovering, but Vandelo just got caught kind of at the end there. Somerville's starting to pick up the game. I think he's going to take the game on his shoulders here the rest of the way.
As we mentioned, he's getting back to the free throw line, and here's where he's made a living here this second half.
Good foul shooter.
70% of the season. Khalif Ford in, Dana Ford out for Illinois State. Somerville is tied for second in the Valley in scoring at 15 a game. He's tied for fifth in rebounding at 6.4 a game. Just quietly chalking up numbers in what has turned out to be a stellar 3-year career at Bradley. We approach the 5-minute mark left here at Redbird Arena. Bradley 60, Illinois State 52. Fortes thought about the quick shot. Now drops it down to Dyer. Backs in on Somerville. Little turnaround jumper rolls off. Bennett goes back and gets it for Bradley.
Bradley wants to take some time off the clock here. Got the weave.
And works the baseline reverse, layup and score it. And now Illinois State calls timeout. Bradley has a 10-point advantage here in the second half with 4:26 to go. They were patient offensively and it paid off.
Dribble penetration has really been the key for Bradley in the second half. Not only that last play with the weave, but it's rough and kind of finding people as he kind of dives inside the lane.
Here's another look at that last play here, Todd. Break it down for us. It's Bennett, as you mentioned, working the baseline and scoring.
Yeah, that wasn't Ruffin, that was Bennett, but they're finding angles in the Redbird defense, and then they're taking advantage of them. ISU is so focused on the big folks that when the little guys start to drive, do they help, do they not? Kind of stuck in no man's land.
And Bennett, who was held scoreless in the first 20 minutes of play, has now come up with a couple of big baskets for Bradley here in a resurgent second half. He only has 4 points on 2 of 7 from the field, but that was really a big hoop here.
That was one of those Bradley spurts that we talked about. ISU can get back in this game. They just got to revisit the three-point line, get good shots underneath, and then hopefully have their defense continue to drive the momentum of this game.
Now the Redbirds send Neil Plank, Roberto Fortes, Levi Dyer, Khalif Ford, and Greg Dilligard back on the floor. Bradley has Will Franklin, Daniel Ruffin, Patrick O'Brien, Marcellus Somerville, and Tony Bennett. 10-point Bradley advantage. The Redbirds trying to carve into it. Neil Plank for 3. He can't get it. And it's Somerville back on the defensive end. Marcellus Somerville now with 7 rebounds to go with 16 points.
ISU needs to turn up the pressure here. Back to the weave there by Bradley. They like to score off this weave by setting a high ball screen during the weave. Here it is.
Franklin behind the screen from O'Brien. See if they pick and roll it. Franklin's going to pick it himself. Blocked by Dyer. Bennett gets it back, but he walked.
Good aggressive play by Bradley there. Levi came over and erased the shot.
Timeout on the floor. 3:34 to go, and the Braves have a 10-point lead. Here's that sequence again. Todd. Will Franklin trying to drive on Dyer.
Bradley penetration off the high ball screen. ISU defended it well.
But it was Bennett there to clean up. 3:34 to go here. It's Bradley 62 and Illinois State 52. The Redbirds had a 3-point halftime lead.
This is kind of where the Bradley coaches spoke to us about poise, about control at the end of the game. They have struggled on the road. This is where they really need their guards to step up. At the same time, ISU has got to pressure the basketball and come up with some easy baskets to claw back in.
Now, Bradley's win at Evansville this year was their first Valley Road victory in 2 seasons. And a victory today by the Braves would give them 4 road wins for the first time since the 1997-98 season. So they're trying to exercise a couple of demons here on the road, let alone give them a season sweep of the Redbirds. 3.5 to go now. Still a lot of time to play. 10-point Bradley lead with the Redbirds having the basketball here. Fortes. He'll try a 3. He couldn't get it to go. O'Brien had it in his hands, and Somerville comes away with it.
I think that's the look they wanted coming out of the timeout. Porter's always good at drawing up a nice play to get a guy a look. We're able to knock it down.
The Redbirds have had to shoot the 3 here in the last couple of minutes of the second half. A lot of their offense is on the perimeter.
They're going to need that 3-point basket as it comes down to the end here. Bradley's working some time. Got their high post players up towards the elbow there.
Here's O'Brien down low. Swatted out of there, or at least lost. Dilligard changed the shot. O'Brien got it back. He's going to get another crack at it. He still can't get it to go, and Dilligard's going to come away with it.
ISU on the push.
Plank cut off on the baseline by Franklin. He spins and he scores. 3-point opportunity for the senior from Mount Zion.
He kind of paused there towards to the end of that play, and then he saw a smaller man on him and decided to take advantage of it. There he is on the spin. He was a little undecided, but then he said, you know what? I can take this guy. I'm going to go for it. Chance for the traditional.
And he's got a 5-inch height advantage when he's driving on Will Franklin. He took him right to the hole, and now Neil Plank has an opportunity for a 3-point play.
Bradley defends very well with the 3-guard lineup, though. I mean, I can't blame him for having it in there. They do a good job, and of course it really benefits their passing on the offensive end.
Plank makes the foul shot. He has 13 on the game. It's a 7-point Bradley advantage now. We're under 2.5 to go here at Redbird Arena.
Looks like ISU's going to switch all screens. Leaf stuck on Marcellus Somerville there. Mike
Vandelo is out top now with Ruffin, who goes right by him to the lane, slips it underneath to Somerville. Reverse layup is good.
That's a tough matchup for ISU with Vandelo out front.
Now quickly, Khalif Ford back in the front court. His shot is swatted out of there by Patrick O'Brien. Another block for the big 7-footer.
He's everywhere.
Bradley has 8 blocks on the game. Somerville's got to have about, or I should say, O'Brien's got to have at least 5 of them.
Bradley's trying to work some clock. I'd like to have the high ball screen and have him attack the basket towards the end of the clock here.
Ruffin lobs to O'Brien, and it's going to be on the weak side help. Neil Plank getting whistled for the foul. So 2 more foul shots coming for the Braves. O'Brien is already 7 of 8 from the foul line here tonight.
I think he's somebody you want at the foul line towards the end of the game.
Well, Patrick O'Brien, as we mentioned, has been heavily scouted this season by professional scouts attending games, and if they're watching this one, they're seeing a pretty good product on the floor.
I would hope that he doesn't go this year. It'd be nice for him to grab another year or 2 in school. But they're watching him very closely, and he's definitely delivered today. ISU is going to put their best three-point shooters in the game now.
So Roberto Cortez comes in to replace Dana Ford, and now Lawrence Wright is checked in at the Bradley scorers table. See if he can get in the game. He does off the made free throw from O'Brien. So it'll be O'Brien out and Lawrence Wright in. And O'Brien gets high fives as he heads to the Bradley bench. 22 points for the big fella here to go along with 13 rebounds.
ISU's got to convert, and then they got to go ahead and foul. Play the time management game.
Bradley's matched its largest lead of the game at 11. Vandelo, kick over. Ford, now with Stilligard. He backs it on Somerville. Nicely done.
Look for a foul.
Braves get the ball into Daniel Ruffin's hands, and that's exactly where they want it to be.
That's probably not the guy you want to foul. You don't have a choice, though. You've only got 58 seconds left. You're down 9. You got to take the first guy available. They want to get the first trap. If they don't get anything out of the first trap, then go ahead and foul Bradley.
And so Ruffin, who we mentioned, entered the game with a 23 consecutive streak, 23 made in a row, has already been to the free throw line now 5 out of 5. And he's going to try to make it 29 in a row here at the free throw line.
Second of 2 for Daniel Ruffin.
Levi Dyer's checked back in now for Illinois State.
Look for Bradley to have token pressure. Galif needs to push it up from Illinois State's standpoint.
Well, Ruffin misses the free throw, but Bradley gets the offensive rebound, so it's the best of both worlds now for the Braves, as they've got time on their side on the basketball. And they've spread the floor out.
The old four corners look. You don't see that very often anymore, do you?
Not until the final minute of the game. Well, the Bradley Braves are 35 seconds away from completing a sweep of Illinois State for the second time in 3 years, and a victory today would ensure Bradley of at least a 500 record.
Double bonus, 2 shots.
And now the double bonus is going to be Ruffin back to the free throw line.
He killed his streak last time, but he's the guy you want on the line from Bradley's perspective.
Now the Braves can improve to 14-9 on the season and 8-7 in the league and get their second road win of the year. The Redbirds are scrapping and clawing and trying to do everything they can do to stay out of that Thursday night play-in game in St. Louis, but it won't be the case with one more defeat on their record. Final seconds are tipping off now.
You know, I think it really was Illinois State's defense that controlled the first half, but it's Bradley's dribble penetration and, of course, O'Brien in the second half that was the key to the game here.
And certainly the three-point shooting of Illinois State. They were 64% in the first half. Just about everything was going in. Levi Dyer especially was draining threes, and now the Redbirds' three-point shooting percentage is down to 45% of the game. Still not bad, but when you're at 64%, that's a big drop-off.
Yeah, the final score is going to fool some people. Is that exactly how close this game was? This was a typical I-74 war. Just towards the end of the game here, it's kind of slipping away from Illinois State.
Both teams are back to action on Tuesday night. Illinois State will look to get the ship headed in the right direction against Drake here at home. Bradley gets a date with Southern Illinois at Carver Arena on Tuesday night. Final seconds winding down. The largest lead of the game now at 14 points. Khalif Ford missed the short shot, got it back and laid it in, and that's going to be the final.
I enjoyed the game with you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It was a pleasure having Todd Cagle alongside. Final seconds tip-off, and Bradley has come into normal and beaten the Redbirds at Redbird Arena by a final score of 71-59 behind 23 points from Patrick O'Brien and 18 points from Marcellus Somerville. Redbirds led in scoring by Levi Dyer's career-high 16. The final again from Redbird Arena. Illinois State falls to Bradley. It's the Braves 71 and the Redbirds 59. For Todd Cagle, this is Kurt Pegler. Thanks for being with us, and good night from Redbird Arena.